quite a while in your work with what's the official name of the program?
The Institute for Pastoral Theology at Ave Maria University.
All right.
And our administrative offices are in Naples, Florida, at the temporary campus for Ave Maria University. But we operate our program actually all over the country. So I'll talk more about that later on in the show.
And your boss used to be my boss.
Yes, President Healy has helped Mr. Tom Monahan realize a great vision for Catholic higher education in America, and Ave Maria University is a great project. Great to be part of it.
That's right. Well, I don't want to take up any more time. I'd like to invite you, as I do every week, to give us a bit of your spiritual background.
Sure. Well, I was raised in the suburbs of St. Louis, Missouri. Went to public schools. Lived in a Protestant home. We went to church, but when I got to be in high school and started to think on my own a little bit, I grew more skeptical about matters of the faith and eventually became an atheist.
And actually, avowed atheist or just non-practicing?
An avowed atheist, actually. I would argue with my evangelical Protestant friends about belief in God and how it didn't seem to be intellectually trustworthy. But as I left high school and went into the U.S. Navy back in 1973, I had a number of experiences in the Navy that caused me to rethink some of those commitments, and being confronted with my own mortality a couple of times, I had an evangelical Protestant conversion experience. And so I trusted Jesus Christ as my Savior. That stuck and still remains, that Christ is my Savior. But I was in a context where it was evangelical Protestant, and with the idea of the Bible being the sole ground of authority, I was led to go to a Bible college and study the Bible. That's where I met my wife 25 years ago, and I finished Bible college, and after that decided to go to seminary. Went to Dallas Theological Seminary, where I could really study the Bible. I majored in Semitics and Old Testament studies. During that time, I was employed in the United Methodist Church. I went to the United Methodist Church as a mainline Protestant denomination that, in my mind at least, seemed to offer the kind of freedom to really express the faith the way I saw it. And so there was a kind of a mindset there that was very inviting to me, and I appreciated that time. I had a lot of encouragement in the United Methodist Church to continue and go then to their seminary at Southern Methodist University. All the while I was working in the Methodist Church. And so I pursued ordination with Methodists and worked for the Methodist Church for 18 years, 12 years as a senior pastor. During that time, I had a number of experiences that encouraged me to think more broadly about issues of authority in the church. And during my experiences in the United Methodist Church, while I had a number of things that were very fulfilling, and I did a lot of youth work, and I worked with social justice committees and ecumenical groups. During that time, I began to have kind of an uneasy feeling that something was missing. It had to do with authority, and I wasn't sure exactly what. But it's interesting how things fall together. And a new bishop came to our annual conference and asked me to be a research assistant on a series of lectures he was going to give on the topic of authority. And so I prepared this material and then saw how he delivered the lectures. And a close friend of mine was sitting across from me during the lectures, and he leaned over and he said to me, "Twellman," he says, "the issue is not authority. The issue is obedience." And it really got me to thinking that perhaps there was something missing, that we were trying to construct an idea of where does authority reside in the church without doing the personal spiritual work of seeing how we relate to those authorities that God has given us. Well, more exploration and time spent with United Methodist